Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video. And if I did comment you saying great question, I might use this and I didn't, please drop that same question again, maybe shorten it up if it was too long, and then make sure you put repeat question and it will get moved to the top. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. And we do have to give thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is PokeNotify. If you guys are sick and tired of missing out on all these drops and pre-orders, PokeNotify is the perfect Discord channel for you. They will alert you as soon as anything drops, so that way you're not missing out on all these awesome products. And then too, you know, it's a community of collectors for the collectors. And then if you're worried about it or curious about it, they have a 3-day free trial, and then you can use the code POKEBeardtcg at checkout, and you will receive 25% off your first month. Definitely check them out. All the links are in the description. All right, first question is from @JohnHeitkamp4792, a member. Hey Beard, I've heard rumors that Twilight, Paradox, and Paldea might get a reprint. If they do you think PC ETBs will come back in stock or just ancillary products? Thanks. So I've got a ton of questions about this, about the Pokemon Center ETBs. So if we look at all the Scarlet and Violet era reprints, we haven't really gotten them reprinted the same time that we've gotten other stuff. The only time that's ever really happened is when they take it down a week or two before release on the Pokemon Center website so they can, you know, fulfill pre-orders, and then they put it all back, you know, like when the set actually comes out. They did that for Stellar Crown. They did that with Surging Sparks. People thought they were going to do that with Prismatic Evolutions, but Prismatic actually sold out. Surging Sparks was available for pre-order the entire time on the Pokemon Center website. So it's definitely a little bit different, but we have gotten a few random restocks here and there of some Pokemon Center ETBs. So hopefully that'll happen. And then saying all this, I hope I'm 100% wrong. And I hope, you know, we actually get very solid reprints of all the Pokemon Center ETBs. I would not mind a chance to get a couple ones that I missed out on, or, you know, ones that I only have one of or something like that. Because I know there's a ton of people too that missed out on all these and they don't have any Pokemon Center ETBs. So hopefully I am wrong, and hopefully we get reprints of the Pokemon Center ETBs for every set that we actually get a reprint of. But in my opinion, I have a feeling we'll get a couple restocks maybe of some of these sets, just kind of clearing out whatever they have left over. And then too, I'm sure people are wondering, why would I want a reprint if I have some of these boxes? You know, wouldn't you want less of them so they go up in price faster? I don't care if they go up in price or if they go down in price. You know, if we get a reprint and they come down in price, I don't care, because in 5 to 10 or 15 years from now, it does not matter at all. You know, you guys have to keep that in mind. I like when stuff gets restocked or when the market cools off, because it is the best time to buy. Like right now, I'm not going super crazy. I'm just saving money. So when the market cools off, then I can go crazy. You know, that's why I'm always trying to lock in my pre-orders, and then I'm not really buying a ton of hyped up cards right now. I'm only buying cards that are completely undervalued or haven't really moved yet. So just trying to save up money and just slowly, you know, build these collections and stuff. And then once the market cools off, I'm going to go crazy. So yeah, big fan of reprints, and let's all hope that they reprint some of these Pokemon Center ETBs, and hopefully they last longer than 30 seconds. That's the other big thing too. You know, if these Pokemon Center ETBs get restocked, how long are they going to last? In my opinion, you know, 95% of them are going to be gone, you know, within the first 5 to 10 minutes. So hopefully once the market cools off, if it does, you know, they'll last a little bit longer and people will have more chances to pick up some of these Pokemon Center ETBs, because I know a ton of people want them. But all right, next question is from @Gerditz3183, probably butchered that. Hey Beard, I have 21 copies of the Galarian Moltres promo. Should I sell or hold on to them? So that card is dropping pretty hard right now. So it got up to $17, now last sold $834, $731, $699, $763. You know, you could maybe sell a couple of them, but if you have 21 of them, definitely get your top 3 or 5 graded for sure if they're actually clean. But honestly, promos like this, they do really, really good long term. You just got to let that tin grow in value, and the promo will follow also. All right, next question is from Void Spectrum 1. Hi, PokeBeard, love your videos. I have a PSA 10 Tyranitar illustration rare from Paldea Evolve. Should I sell now or wait? Thank you. So we'll check on that. So the population is only 726. That's not too bad. There's 2,077 PSA 9s, and it's going up in price right now. So in my opinion, I would definitely hold on to that bad boy a little bit longer. I mean, if you're looking at some of these illustration rares that are getting some of these crazy prices, yes, some of them might be a little harder to grade than the Tyranitar, but the Tyranitar is so much cooler and still relatively tough to grade. So I could see this card being, you know, $500, $600, $700, especially if the market just continues like this. But in my opinion, I never like to sell when the card's going up like that. I'll sell when it kind of levels out, because you could be missing out a ton of value right there. We have no idea what this could climb to. But last sold in a 10, 420. Then we got a 9 at 52, another 9 at 79, and another 10 at 420. So yeah, just hold on a little bit longer for sure. But again, just keep checking the market. You know, if you're super worried about it, just keep on top of that. And as soon as it levels out or starts dropping, then if you're worried about it, then maybe sell it. Next is from @BobCC Live. I bought 2 Prismatic PC ETBs planning to hold for a while. Like normal, they're up such a ridiculous amount. I wonder if it's time to sell. This is where I expected them to be in years when originally planning. Don't want to get greedy. They got down to 258. Now last sold 335, 360, 330, 375. So that is a good amount of value if you really think about it compared to $60. Now you do have 2 of them. You could always sell one and keep the other, but you have to ask yourself, are you going to be mad, you know, if 5 years down the road, these are $1,000 a box? Because that is very possible. And then you also have to ask yourself, do you need this, you know, extra $300 right now to buy anything specific? If you do, you know, then now's a great time. It's always a good time to sell, you know, when the market is crazy like this. But just know if you do hold on to these and the market cools off, these could easily get down to $250, $200. I mean, we already seen them at $258. So they could easily get down to $250, $200 again. No problem. But, you know, it's a long-term thing, like I always say. Next question is from @DeedsYoSue071. We got some tough names today. Hey Beard, what are your thoughts on Steel Champions Path? I've got an ETB in a couple of the pin collections. Do you see them increasing in value anytime soon? Thanks. So I do have a couple Champions Path ETBs. They're just going to keep slowly gaining value. I don't think they're going to go super crazy at all. Last sold 125, 120, 130, 132, 132. There's a couple very high value Charizards in there. So Champions Path, you know, does have some solid bangers. It's just the rest of the set is pretty lackluster. But all right, next question is from @Sal3888. Hey PokeBeard, what do you think about picking up a case of the Paldea Adventure Chest? So I actually like the Paldea Adventure Chest. It's got 6 packs, you know, solid variety of Scarlet and Violet Era packs. And now everybody loves the Scarlet and Violet Era. And then they got an awesome exclusive Pikachu promo. Very beautiful illustration rare. Anything that comes with a beautiful illustration rare like that, you know, it's a no-brainer. Plus, it's a pretty unique box. But let's see what a case is selling for. Now, I remember these were selling at Target for like $18 or something like that. I even remember getting a couple of these at a card show at about $17. But let's see what they're going for now. We got a case here. It says $115, but doesn't show a picture of the actual case. We got another one here that shows an actual picture of the case, sold for $188. We got another case right here, brand new. It says ×4, $99. So, you know, around $25, $30 a box. That's still not that bad if you really think about what's inside the box. 6 packs, you know, not a crazy amount. Comes with a little Pikachu toy and that promo. So, you know, not a terrible box for sure, but these were everywhere. Just remember that. But I don't mind grabbing stuff when it's only up like $10, $15. Like I said, these were like, you know, $15 to $20 on their low, and now they're still $25 to $30. So not too bad of a pickup in my opinion. All right, next question is from @ChandlerDuke00. Hey Beard, I have a budget of $1,000 right now, and I want to chase a PSA 10 of either the Bubble Mew or Hidden Fates Charizard. Which one would be the better purchase? Super tough call. Let's see. The Bubble Mew got up to 1,071. Coming down right now, last sold 1,017, 920, 853, 929. And then for the Hidden Fates Charizard, the high on this thing was almost $1,700. Got down to like $560. Now last sold, coming up in price right now, $930, $750, $1,006. Then we do have another $897 sale down there. So if you're comparing the two cards, the Bubble Mew is definitely more popular of a card, and people definitely like special illustration rares more than these shiny full arts. Now, if we look at the pop on the Charizard GX is 7,621 in a 10 and 5,908 in a 9. Now, the Bubble Mew already has a pop of 8,425 in a 10, and the PSA 9 pop is 9,124. Now, you do have to think, we will probably get a pretty decent sized Paldea and Fates reprint to where we will have a ton more Bubble Mews hitting the market and getting graded. So pretty tough call, kind of up to you, but I definitely feel like the Bubble Mew is just so much more popular and so many more people want the Bubble Mew over this Charizard GX. Especially right now, Charizard is definitely not the most popular. All right, next question is from DC from the V. When buying raw cards online, is there a way to narrow down the cleaner prints from the bad ones? I feel like a lot of Near Mint cards I buy on eBay and TCG Player have horrible centering, almost exclusively making me feel like the great deals I find aren't so great at all, as I'm basically buying PSA 8 or 9 candidates, despite the cards being packed fresh and undamaged. So I would definitely recommend using a computer so you can actually zoom in on these pictures, so then you can actually see the centering yourself. and then that's on you. You know, you can actually see everything yourself and then decide on what you want to buy. TCG Player is a little different, which is why I do not buy high value cards or anything like that on TCG Player. But I like that when you're on the computer, you can actually zoom in and really look at everything super closely. Like this is a model you played Poliwrath that I just clicked on randomly, but because I was just looking up Poliwraths. And then two, make sure you follow the good sellers that you actually like and have good clean cards. So that way you can just go back to their store and get from them again. Next question is from Tristan Koch 3980. How do you feel about mastering the plasma sets now? Not quite modern or vintage, weird period. Also, how do you feel about Yveltal EX 2017 XY158 promo? Undervalued, can't find one listed anywhere, thanks. So I'm actually collecting all these blue plasma full arts, all the ones that actually have the P on there that are blue. I think it's a super cool collection. There's not that many of them. So in my opinion, I like to do that first before I actually think about mastering all these sets. You know, you're going to be buying a ton of cards you might not really enjoy. And then two, you can also collect, you know, the shinies and stuff like that. But super, super cool sets in my opinion. And then for that Yveltal card, I actually picked up one a couple months ago. You know, I love the card. I think I have 3 or 4 of them right now, but super, super cool. I love that it's like a painting. But the PSA 10 is definitely going up in price. Last sold says on here $1,499, and a PSA 9 sold for $300. Pretty crazy price because if PSA 10 was literally a few $100s. So these guys are definitely going up in price right now. Next is from a member, Jack, just another Kanto kid. What's your opinion on tag grading and tag 10s currently selling higher than PSA 10s on most of the big hitter cards? I'd also like to hear your thoughts on tags mobile grading pods they are currently developing and going to be placing inside of card shops nationwide, allowing you to grade your cards in person and get them back in just a couple of minutes. So I actually enjoy tag slabs. I think they're very, very clean. I feel like most people would agree that they're one of the best looking slabs. So for the reason why they're selling as much or more than a PSA card is that there's just so many more PSA cards out there and there's only a couple tag slabs. So if there's 100 tag collectors and there's only 2 of this card, you know, they're going to pay a decent amount for that card. So you have to keep that in mind. The quantity does make a humongous difference. And I do think the grading pod system is kind of cool. I do hate waiting for graded cards. You know, sometimes it takes months and months and months, and that does suck for sure. And then they've also been getting a little bit of heat about their slabs breaking pretty easily. I did have a buddy who broke a couple tag slabs that were in a book bag with some binders. So that kind of sucks. I have a feeling they need to fix that, even though they say it's on purpose, but I'd rather have my slabs a little bit more sturdy. And then I've heard people say, why are you bringing your slabs with you anyways? Just put them on a shelf. You know, people can do whatever they want with their slabs. You got to think kids bring these slabs to school to show them off, to trade. I even bring my slabs with me a bunch of places to trade and show off and stuff like that. So I would not mind them being a little bit more sturdy. Next is from Cedar94. Thanks for answering my question last time. I have a new question. I have 2 booster boxes of Paldea Evolved and 2 of Twilight Masquerade. Should I open one of each and then, depending on polls, see about grading them to possibly flip for another product or keep sealed? Thanks again, PokeBeard. Definitely keep them sealed. Odds are you're probably not going to pull anything super, super good. So just definitely keep them sealed. Next is from Matt, the Poke Strongman. Hey Beard, love the channel. Your videos are what inspired me to start my own. I was wondering, with the confirmation of Mega Pokemon coming back, can you see Pokemon cards moving away from full arts, illustration rares, etc. as the top pulls for a set? Or can you see these going on for longer? I definitely feel like we're going to keep these for a while. We're just going to get Mega Pokemon on illustration rares and special illustration rares. That would be my guess. Next is from Gavin Blank. Would you still invest in regular ETB versus the PC version just due to the PC versions being more expensive? Yeah, if that's all you can afford, that is totally okay. There's still very solid ETBs, much better than Sword and Shield. You got to think we're getting an extra pack and a very beautiful illustration rare promo. So it's a much better product than it was all previous years. Next is from Prince Girl 17. Great content like always. Was wondering, when you buy singles or even sealed products, do you try and buy more than just one? Yes, I always try to get at least 3 or 4, so that way you have a lot more options. You know, you can hold one long term to pass on to your kids. You know, you got one to sell when it gets hyped up in a gear, and then you got a couple to sell in like 5 to 10 years. Next is from Jesse Martinez 367. What do you do if your family is unsupportive about the investments into Pokemon, making comments that I'm just wasting money and playing with cards? It's mentally exhausting to explain. I bought a $40 card, spent $16.99 to grade it, sold it for $190, bought Prismatic bundles as pre-order, and sell those for $750. As one example, they keep berating me saying I'm making poor decisions. Thank you for insight and community support. Just show them the cash. You know, they're not going to argue with cash. So just make sure you're doing extremely smart decisions, especially if you are tight on money. You know, definitely getting these pre-orders in, stuff like that. And then for grading, just make sure it's going to be a 10. You know, be extremely picky. Yeah, that really sucks though. Next is from Nick27D1. Hey Beard, what do you do with your products that you buy to keep sealed becomes damaged or ripped? I open them. I just had a booster bundle that was completely dented. The dude dropped it. Open it, pull the Pyroar Master Ball, nothing crazy. But in my opinion, that's the sign to open it. Next is from @WillTheThrill6324. Love the content. I've been wanting to get into vending at local card shows, but I'm worried about inventory. How much product should a first-time vendor have at a local card show? So it depends on what you got for cases. Let's say if you got 2 cases, set them out before you go, put them on the ground. Make sure you can fill up those 2 cases with at least 5 to 10 backups of some decent cards, and then try to have at least 1 binder of some stuff. I feel like that would be kind of the minimum, because once you are vending, you will have a lot of chances to buy and trade for cards too. So you don't have to come with a crazy amount, maybe a couple sealed products. You don't even need to get the big shelf in the back yet. You can just put a couple ETBs or whatever on your table. So just make sure you got a little bit of backup once everything is full. All right, next question is from Pokemon Finance Guy. Do you think Surging and other set reprints will hit around May, same time as Destined Rivals, or sooner to try to divide up the market? Thanks for the grind and great content. It'll probably be around Destined Rivals, maybe a little bit after that if I had to guess. Next is from Sergio Alvarez 8710. Hey Beard, I think we all know by now that a market crash will be coming for Modern in the near future. My question is, do you think it is a good investment to start moving all of my Modern chase cards for Vintage, such as Gold Stars, Vintage, EXs, and so forth? Also love the videos. So I wouldn't maybe move all your Modern. You can maybe move some of the ones that you think are a little overhyped. But it's always good to sell when stuff is super, super high and to buy stuff when it's not going crazy. And last question is from Chris Eaton 9874. Now that the market has moved so much, can we do another series of top 50 under 5, top 10 under 10, etc.? I think I speak for the whole community when I say thank you for the solid content. So I kind of added those into like my Sleeper Sunday or my video where I show what I'm investing in once a month. But I've been thinking about doing some sort of top series on Tuesday. So that can be like top 20 Tuesday or something like that. But yeah, even if it's like a once a month series on Tuesday or something like that, I'll definitely try to get something out there because those are super, super fun videos to make. But all right, that was today's Pokemon What If Wednesday. If you guys do have any questions, please drop them down below for a chance to be in next week's video. And I did just post my first standalone vending video last Saturday, so definitely check that out. And then make sure you check out my Sunday videos. I'm doing a giveaway every single Sunday. We are giving away a PSA 10 Magmar from the Classic Collection, so don't miss out on that. But if you guys like this content, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you can check out my Instagram or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But I want you guys to have a great day. And if you want to watch my last Pokemon Market Monday, which we checked out every single ETB for the Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet era for Pokemon Center and regular, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.